Welcome to the Amplify Your Voice with Dr. Megan Brainer's podcast. This is a podcast for prophetic women in business who are called to write, publish, and influence lives with their message. I'm your host, Dr. Megan Brainer's, and this is a space for obedience, alignment, and stewardship. Take a deep breath and settle in as we share real stories from women of faith from across the globe. Let's begin. So how many times have you heard that if you are anointed, that you cannot be anointed and successful at the same time? So today in this episode, we'll be breaking down all things marketplace and ministry, because I know that God has created powerhouse women in the season that's able to steward ministry as well as a profitable business. Why? Because it's biblical. And we're going to be showing you exactly why we are speaking about what a wealthy biblical woman looks like, right? Because we don't have to blend into the world's standards. So in the room today, for all the listeners, wherever you are tuning in from, we have the powerhouse anointed Dee Giles. I hope I'm pronouncing your surname correctly. And she's a business and marketplace coach who helps activated women grow their business while making undeniable impact. As a founder of She Speaks Wealth, as well as a co-leader of Firebrand Global, Dee has helped women build thriving online businesses and step into the leaders they were always called to be. So all from a kingdom foundation that doesn't ask them to choose between faith and success. So I'm excited to have you in the studio today. Can you just introduce yourself to the listeners?
Yes, thank you so much, Megan. Welcome, everyone. My name is Dee Giles. And just like she says, I am a business coach and marketplace coach because I do believe that the two can thrive together. As a matter of fact, I believe that when God gave us our assignment, it was for maximum impact. So what better way to have impact than to go into the marketplace, right, Megan?
100%. So Dee, it wasn't always this way for you. Can you just give us a little bit of a testimony of a story of the defining moment that led you to where you are currently, flourishing in ministry and the marketplace?
Absolutely. So first of all, if you hear a little bit of sniffles this morning, the allergies kind of got me. They kind of got me here because where we are, there's pollen everywhere. So if you hear that, excuse me in advance. So how I got here was that, I believe the Lord had called us into ministry a few years ago because at first we were already serving in ministry, but the Lord called us into our own ministry. And before that, my husband had already had his own business. He was in the island of Palm Beach and he was a trainer. He had his own gym. And after that, when God had really led us into the space of online, because our transition had taken us to the space of online, we started helping so many people break through in their own assignments when it came to their online digital products, because we were doing it as well. So a lot of people were seeking us to do that same thing. And I kid you not, we just began to see so much explosion begin to take place. And as we started to see that, that's when I realized, okay, we have something here, right? He was already helping people. And for me, it came into where I was like, okay, let me do something too. And I was doing a lot of things for women. But then as this unlocking began to start in me and where I saw that, oh, wow, there was a demand in me to help women see that we can merge the two, business and marketplace, together without feeling guilty. Because a lot of women, when it comes to in the leadership space, we feel guilty that if we not necessarily leave ministry, but put our focus a little bit on business and marketplace, we feel that like almost as if like we're cheating on God, but it's not really so, because even in the Bible, we saw where Jesus was in the marketplace, and we saw that many of the women who helped Jesus, they helped finance Jesus' ministry. And so when I started to look at things like that, I said, wow, don't we want to be in a place where we are able to finance ministries and have kingdom impact and not depend so much on governmental systems in order to do things. And in order to do that, we have to be in a position where if God gives us an idea, we can be able to implement that idea and make a sustainable income to not only sustain our family, but to sustain the kingdom as well.
That is so good. So tell me, where did the name She Speaks Wealth come from?
Oh, wow. Yes. Okay. So I realized that a lot of the words that we say to ourselves can be negative.
Mm-hmm.
And so one time as I was praying and I was like just declaring words. And as I was speaking it, I was like, yeah, we just speak that. And I was like, okay, she speaks. And then since I was in the moment of just wealth, I was like, you know what? She speaks wealth. And I remember just asking friends, what do you think about it? And they were like, I love it. It can go for anything. It can go for finances. It can go for wealth in her body. It can go for wealth in her mind. And it just
Mm.
reminded me of, I believe it was, what's the scripture? That you will prosper and be in health
Yeah.
as your soul prospers. And so I thought about it. I said, I want to prosper and be in health as my soul prospers, as my
Yeah.
mind and my will and everything, my emotions line up with God. I know that prosperity will come as well, meaning finances, because I'll begin to
Yeah.
flow from a healthy place.
Yes. So
Mhm.
you're reminding me of even when God spoke to me, I think it was the year 2022, and he also gave me the name for my academy called Wealthy Kingdom Authors Academy. And at
Oh,
the
come
time, he
on.
was still breaking down
Mhm.
strongholds around, money mindsets at the time when I was an
Wow.
entrepreneur. And I was
Wow.
like, you know what, Lord, I need to break the generational curse because I know for sure that, the spirit of poverty, it's not my portion, right? And I asked
Yeah.
him for strategies. I asked him for scripture and I said, okay, Lord, you need to now show me, what does wealth look like?
Come on.
How do you want me to define wealth? And I think really, Dee, what happened was he showed me that wealth is so much more than finances.
It is. It is.
So
Absolutely.
what does wealth mean to you?
Um, and like I said, I'm going to take it back to Third John. Is that you will prosper as your soul prospers. When I think of wealth, there's a lot of people, right, who have great finances, but their mind is all over their place. They're not
Mm,
happy. They are in lack when it comes to emotional stability. They are
mm,
in lack when it comes to joy. And I believe that when God gives you wealth, he gives it to you without sorrow, right? And so that's truly what I believe. So I believe that when God gives it to you, that he will also give you the mind to be able to handle it. He will give you the
yeah,
emotional intelligence to be able to know how
yeah,
to navigate situations so that you don't
yeah,
put yourself in a predicament where depression takes place. Because whenever
yes,
that comes in the room, then we know that's not of God, right? Because
yeah,
when God gives abundance, he gives it without sorrow. So that's how
yeah,
wealth looks like to me. So if anything crazy is attached to it, anything demonic is attached to it, anything that'll cause someone to sell their soul is attached to it, then it's not true biblical wealth.
That's so good because I know as well, if we are under the state of depression, oppression, if we are still
Yeah,
struggling with shame, rejection, all the things, it actually affects our bank account, right? And that those
absolutely.
are things that I needed to unlearn. So for the
Mhm.
listeners that's tuned in right now, if they are, struggling with an unhealthy money mindset, what are some things that you can share with them just to encourage them?
Um, I like to say this. If you are able to go to the root and pinpoint where did your money mindset come from in the first place, that is key.
Mm,
I always say if you got to deal with a problem, go to the root of the problem. So for example, there's some people, their money mindset may have come from their family, right? As when they were a child, their family are probably like pinching pennies. And there's some people who pinch pennies and still have an optimistic mindset and say, hey, one day we're going to be rich or one day we're going to have so much money. But right now, this is just the season we're in. But then there's some families who are like, hey, don't touch that. You know that we don't have anything. And this is just the hand that we're dealt with. So when you hear those things, it becomes etched in your mind. Somewhere
mm,
your beliefs were shaped. So you have to go figure out that first of all. And then you have to go and see the truth about what God says about money, right? You have to go see what his word says. Like he gives you the power to create wealth. That's in Deuteronomy 8:18. So when you start looking at his truth about money, then you start to see things different. And then you're going to have to read about it consistently because it's going to take a time for
yeah,
your mind to be rewired, right?
yes,
Because for every lie that your
yeah.
brain held, you're going to have to replace it with a truth.
That's so good because that's exactly the journey that I had to walk out as well.
Yeah.
And looking back at your journey of entrepreneurship, I'm sure even when you're working with your clients, the mindset as a business coach, I mean, that's like key because you have to set the foundation. So what some of
Yeah.
the things that you had to work through with your clients when it came to, stepping into the prosperity or stepping into the next level of expansion in their business?
Oh gosh, yes, it was definitely mindset. In mindset, it had a lot to do with pricing. So it had a lot to do with
Mm,
their value. And so you see, what we don't understand is a lot of times we let other people put a ticket price on us. And not understanding what we come to the table with. We always look at ourselves in our own eyes as, we're just a person who helps edit books. Oh, we're just a person who can help you write a book. Oh, I'm just the person who can coach you in your business. When in reality, if you can coach a person in their business and you can probably, even 5x or let's say 10x their annual income, that's amazing. You just helped a family be able to probably buy a house, right? Be able to create a legacy. You don't see the impact of what you just did with one person, but you let other people put a value on you because you started comparing your price with others, or you started saying, I'm not good enough. This person has a certificate. But if you are able to create real value for someone else where you see tangible transformation in their lives, physical results, then you have to understand that you can price accordingly to what you're able to give that person. And that was one of the main things. They're like, can I really charge all of this money? It's like, yes, you can. Because where would that person be if you didn't help them? That's what you got to look at.
Most definitely. I 100% agree with that. So how did you writing your book help your business?
How did it help my business?
Yes. Was whatever you were writing in your book, how did it complement what you were doing in the capacity of a coach helping clients? Yes. Did it have a connection? Yeah.
It had a connection because, and my book is called, actually, I have it here. It's called Next Level You, for Kingdom Women entrepreneurs who want to reprogram their mind for 7-figure success. If you see it there, it says reprogram your mind. And there's a big reason as to why I have that is because, I've been in circles. I've been in the name it and claim it circles. I've been in the name it and claim it circles and nothing takes place. So I'm not against speaking things like you're like, hey, God's going to do this. But what I don't like is when people say God's going to do this and there's no action put forth because they don't realize there's a reprogramming that takes place. So why I wrote this book was because even though I would have some women that I would coach, I wanted them to see my process of how God shifted my mindset on finances and ministry and what it looked like. And I was determined not to go back into that mindset. And I wanted to help them see that, hey, you were built for kingdom impact. You were built for success. And it's time for you to say hello to the new you, say hello to the future you, instead of, keep on looking back and saying, okay, this is what people think about me. This is how I'm going to make my finances. But understanding that God wants you to step into that authority in order for you to have success. And being really disciplined about it too. Disciplined about making the vision come to life. So this is why this book was written.
So tell me, did you put your actual framework, your proven framework inside of that book?
I did put a framework inside of the book.
Okay. And what was your thinking behind that? Like when you put it together, what was your thinking when you were writing the book? Yeah.
My thinking was the hardest thing that people have to do is sit down and actually think. The hardest thing that people have to do is actually sit down and actually lock in for whether it's a couple months, because we have social media and everything distracting us. So I put a method in there to where, hey, this is your lock-in time. This is where you spend time and you're going to develop what God has given you, because that's where it starts in the first place. A lot of the times people write ideas down and they don't come back to it. Because because it was an idea, but by the time they're going to come back to it, they've already had so many things grabbing at them. But if they lock in, that's what I had to do. I had to lock in so much so that I almost forgot the world around me, honestly. And, when you lock in and do that, that's how you grow, Megan. So,
yeah. Okay, so I've got another question for you, and I'm sure some of my clients will be sitting and listening for your answer. They'll be like, okay, what's the response to this question? So I have a community where both of my clients are both serving in ministry and the marketplace. And a lot of times we blur the lines as to, okay, I'm operating in ministry right now, and now I'm operating in marketplace. So what's the shift that is required, right? Yes, I'm anointed, but I'm also an entrepreneur. What is that shift, especially when it comes to showing up and making impact online? What needs to take place?
Emotional intelligence and knowing the room that you're walking into is very important. So, for example, you got to know when you're in business mode, and you'll see this a lot, Megan, when you're in business mode, sometimes you're in what I call the CEO mode. You're like, hey, you got to do this way, do it this way. This is how we're going to do.
Yeah.
We have to go ahead and send emails. It's very chop. Whereas
Yeah.
sometimes when you step into ministry mode, even though you're still in leadership, ministry mode requires a lot of emotional intelligence, because your team is like, whoa. Unless you have a team that operates on CEO level a
Yeah.
lot, you're mostly going to
Yeah.
be dealing with different people coming into church, because that's what it is for. And
Yeah.
so it's just really understanding to feel the room. For example, are you going to a team meeting, and your team meeting with ministry is they are expecting you to be in kind of CEO mode because, hey, we're having a very important meeting? Or are you going into a team meeting where it's very relaxed, but all of a sudden, because you're bringing in the stress from business for the day, all of a sudden you're very tough with your team? So that's why I say it's emotional intelligence. You got to just be able to breathe and let go of what happened at in the business day, especially if you're at home. It's kind of hard to separate. So you're going to have a lot of emotional intelligence for the rooms that you're stepping in. While everyone is joyful, they see you looking all stressed out. Because it does happen in business. So we can't say it doesn't happen. Sometimes figuring out systems and technologies and emails didn't go through. So you're just flustered, and you're like, hey, just speak, have emotional intelligence, and just let them know what's happening. Communication is the best.
Yeah. So you thriving, wearing both roles and wearing the both hats, right? And knowing these challenges as well. I'm thinking of myself. I've got 2 toddlers. I'm a mom. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a ministry leader. So even this morning, I asked the Lord, you know what, Lord, like, I know in your words, you say to whom much is given, much is required. I was like, okay, I get that, but I know that, I'm speaking to Dee this morning, and I know she's going to drop some gems that I can just grab onto and, just implement. But being a woman that's grounded in a faith, what can you share with the entrepreneur right now that wants to make both income and impact? Whether it is a book that they've written or whether it is inside of their business. Can you just give them practical steps that they can implement?
Absolutely. I would say first and foremost, I like to tell people, get a planner. I know it's one of the most basic steps. Get you a planner, get you a calendar, get you a digital one. I am both a digital and a physical handwritten calendar person. I got to have it all around me. I'm staring at one right now. Because when you do so many things, you want constant reminders of what your scheduling is to be able to, and it will take so much off of your plate. So that's step number 1. Step number 2, I would say to have block time. So why am I saying this? I'm saying it because when you have block time, it's going to make it easier. So for example, when you say, hey, tomorrow, Thursday from 8 to 10, from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m., I'm working on content. That's very easy for you to say. It doesn't feel like a struggle. Just the day before, you go ahead and you kind of map out what content you're working on. So by the time you get in there, content is done. Now, all you have to do is go and edit and upload content, maybe the next day or that same day, right? So that's taken care of. The next thing I like to tell people is have discipline in your business. So as much as you sit there and you scroll and you look at other people posts and everything, sit there. If you can sit there and you're in an app for an hour in your business, you can find the holes that you need to fix. You can find the emails that you need to send. You're like, oh, I haven't been able to schedule emails. Or perhaps, hey, I need to go ahead and fix this offer. I need to go out and market my book better. So every single day, if you take some time and you become, this is my favorite word, obsessed about your client, you will find out different ways that you can help your client. It's so hard to put so much practical steps in a short time frame. But I would say get you a calendar. Definitely block some time, create content, because content is king in the era that we live in. And I would definitely say learn sales as much as you can. That is my favorite thing I'm going to tell you, because sales has a lot to do with messaging. Sales has a lot to do with impact. And when you think of messaging, it's the words that you're saying. Sales is not just a transaction. It's really a transformation. So I like to tell people that when you are talking even over the camera on your content about sales, or you're trying to sell to someone, it's not like when you go to a car dealership. It is really, you're one conversation away from making impact and one conversation away from making income.
Okay, so mentorship is important, you would say, or getting a coach in order to help you with sales? That's a no-brainer.
1,000%. It's a no-brainer. And my bad if I missed that one, for sure. I would definitely say mentorship, because even with all the things that I just told you, you're going to need someone to help you recognize marketing, help someone to help you get your book out. That's going to be key.
Yeah. And I know also, when it comes to the investment part, especially getting a coach or hiring someone, I've heard a lot of, horror stories when it comes to them spending thousands of dollars and not seeing a return of investment. And to that, I would definitely say, you know what, even if you've been betrayed in business, God wants to heal those places. So I'm sure you've had personal experience as well. Can you just speak to that, especially the healing part? When it comes to operating as an entrepreneur, if you have been, betrayed in the past, or if you have had collaborations, or if you have made investments and you haven't seen the return, can you speak to that?
Yes. I would have to say, life goes on, and as crazy as it sounds, we've invested a lot of money in mentorship, and then we've had really very, very successful, good things. And then we had one where we was actually really tight in budget, because it happens in business. We were tight in budget and still invested in a company, and we got like maybe one sale from the way they gave it to us. And we could have been upset about it. We could have, but we chose to get up and keep going. That is business. Risk, reward. That is what it is. And so even if you're down for a little bit, get up, shake it off, because God will perfect that which concerns us. I truly do believe that. And so if it concerns us, bring it to the Lord. Say, God, maybe I misjudged. I misstepped here in this direction. Lord, lead me in the direction, and He will give you the way to go. He is good like that. In every kind of way, we seek Him in our business. He does not fail us. Everything is I look at every failure as a learning opportunity. What did I learn here?
So in closing, marketing and visibility. It's not self-ambition. No, why is it important for, especially an author and an entrepreneur, to get visible? It's the bane of a business, but yet so many is they don't, marketing and visibility is oh, do I really have to? Yes. So can you speak to that?
Absolutely. I say, how can anyone buy from you if they don't see you, if they don't hear you? It's just like the gospel. How can anyone hear, or if there's no one preaching, right? And so it's the same thing. And you take the same kind of model for visibility. If they don't see you, if you're just oh, I'm just not that social media person, how can you have a brand without being on social media? How can you have authority without being on social media? This is where the playing field is now. So you have to be here. It's not selfish. It's not ambitious. It's just, this is where you have to be. This is the ground zero for being seen and for being heard and for people to be able to buy whatever you are selling.
That's good. And the platforms that you currently, showing up on, whether it's, I for sure know I love YouTube and LinkedIn. I've tried Facebook, and then I'm you know what, this Facebook thing is not working. I love YouTube, and I love LinkedIn. Did it have to be trial and error for you, especially saying, okay, YouTube this is the thing where I'm thriving in? Did you give yourself a time frame to actually explore?
With YouTube, I gave myself not only a time frame, but I had to try different things. So with YouTube, it's a beast of its own. With YouTube, you have to try thumbnails. And I know a lot of people love to keep using the same thumbnails because they're trying to create a personal brand. But YouTube, is very psychological when it comes to YouTube thumbnails and when it comes to titles. So sometimes people, like I said, try to stay on brand, but you got to shift it up to see what YouTube is actually liking and what's the clear winner. And so not only did I have to stay there for a time, I had to see what kind of titles were resonating and bringing in the audience that I actually wanted. That's huge. For Facebook, it was kind of easy. Facebook, you can go on there and people really want to be personable. If you go live, people really love that. But then when Facebook came out and said they're going to only keep your live for 30 days, I was like, I'm making the switch to YouTube, just so, I can have content on there that lives forever. Because it makes more sense with YouTube as it's more of an educational base. platform to build long-term videos there.
Yeah, for sure. I made the switch recently. And I'm loving it over there. So I just need to load more videos. So it's like content. So Dee, where can we get your book? What's happening in your community right now for anyone that wants to reach out to you?
Yes, you can get my book on Amazon. Just look up Dee Giles, Next Level You. It's on Amazon, all over there. And in my community right now, what I'm doing is reconstructing my community to where it's going to be a lot more monthly mentorship based. So, you can reach out to me if you want to. And yeah, I'm on Instagram and Facebook, so you can find me there. And that's where we're going for now.
So if you are interested to join Dee's community, you can go ahead to the description section and you will find all the links in there. Dee, it's been absolutely amazing having you here. Keep on making impact, keep on amplifying your voice, and keep on being bold about that message that God has placed in your belly. It was truly an honor from myself and the Amplify Your Voice family. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. It was an honor.
Thank you for listening to the Amplify Your Voice with Dr. Megan Brainer's podcast. Take what resonated with you, sit with it, and pray into it. The next couple of episodes, we'll be focusing on prophetic publishing, author brands, and legacy platforms. Until next time, keep showing up in obedience, and remember, when you mind His business, He takes care of your business.